Hi everyone, and welcome back to Teachers Talk Money, where I help teachers master their money in order to give back to themselves. Today I am going to be going way back in the past to talk about how much it cost me to move to the apartment that I currently live in. In July 2019, I moved from my apartment in Silver Spring, Maryland, to an apartment in Washington, D.C. with my partner, Brian. And moving is one of those things where it's really tough to estimate expenses, but they add up super quickly. And so I thought I would share with you exactly how much my move cost me, especially from this perspective of moving to another state, because obviously, although DC does not have statehood yet, I did incur a lot of fees that came with moving out of state. So let's go over all of the costs that my move cost me, and hopefully all of this is highly personalized. It can give you insight into about how much moving to a different area could cost you. The most substantial fees are going to be the fees that come with moving to a different apartment. So that's your application fee, your deposit, and your first month's rent. For me, the application fee was $50 total, so I paid $25 for my half of that. The deposit was $700 total, so I paid $350 for my half. The prorated rent, so the rent that we were paying for to finish out the month of July, was $1,161, so I paid $580.50 for my half of that. And then finally, the rent for the first month was $1,800 total and $900 a month for my half, which you guys know from any of my budget videos. That's how much that I still pay in rent because we signed a 2-year lease. Now we need to talk about the cost of furniture. This can add up pretty quickly, especially for me. I was moving out of an apartment that I had shared with my 2 roommates for a number of years, and they had supplied a lot of the furniture. So I did not have a ton of furniture that I was bringing into this new apartment with Brian. Fortunately, he had some, so that alleviated some of the cost, but we still had a couple places where we needed to fill in the blanks. So the previous tenants of our apartment, who we met when we toured the place, were actually moving to Spain. So they offered to sell us some of their furniture because they were leaving. Obviously, that's a really specific situation, but basically the same idea as picking stuff off of Facebook Marketplace or shopping from a used furniture store. I personally love Habitat for Humanity's Restore, where they resell old furniture, as well as literally any thrift stores or Craigslist and things like that. You really can find great items, and although I've never purchased anything from Facebook Marketplace, a ton of my friends have, and highly recommend it. So from the previous tenant, we got their television, because we did not have one, their television stand, which for us doubles as a bookcase, which you can see in my minimalist apartment tour that I'll link down below, as well as an armchair that you've seen in a lot of videos that I've recorded, and their microwave and kind of like microwave holder spice rack that they included. Oh, as well as a hallway mirror. You'll see all of this in my minimalist apartment tour if you want to check the link down below. And they sold all of this to us for $365, of which I only paid $182.5 because I split it in half with Brian, if you're noticing a theme here. So this was an awesome deal, obviously, but I think that you could get a lot of similar deals for this kind of stuff, checking out thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, Restores, and other shops like that. We also bought a total of $95 of other furniture, of which I paid $47.50. Now to get to the expenses of moving to a different state, mostly in DMV fees for tags and parking. I also had to transfer the title of the car into my name because it was still in my mother's name because she originally purchased the car. So it was quite an expensive process. Fortunately, I had a friend who had gone through the same process in DC, and she told me exactly how much everything cost her, so I was able to pretty easily estimate what it would cost me. Even if you don't have a friend who moved to the same place from the same place, you can still use, I would honestly use community forums on Reddit to check out exactly how much these fees are going to cost you. You can get so much helpful information about parking in your city or town, any fees associated, anything with the Motor Vehicle Administration or Department of Motor Vehicles, depending on where you live, by using Reddit. So all of these fees together, I don't want to bring you through everything. I do have all of this written out on a blog post that I did about this move, which I will also link below. But the total for all of my $312, and that was parking, getting my new license because I had to change from a Maryland to a DC license, getting my new tags, and transferring the title, and all of the fees associated with all of this. I also included in these numbers a $100 ticket that I got when I was accidentally parked illegally before I was able to visit the DMV, so just gotta be real with you on that one. I also had to pay for the first month of my renter's insurance and utilities. These weren't that different than what I was paying previously, but I'll still include them. Total of $106 for the first initial month of this. And now we need to bring us to everything I spent on the big moving day. So the U-Haul ended up costing $202. My mother actually graciously offered to pay for the U-Haul, which was amazing. I was previously living with her in between when I moved out of my apartment and when I got this new apartment, and that ended up meaning I did a lot of house sitting and business sitting and watching my younger brothers for her. And so she decided that she wanted to pay me back by paying for the U-Haul, which was extremely generous, and that took a lot of the money off of our plate. But for reference for this video, it was $202. We also spent $12 on packing tape and boxes. So the total cost of the move, including everything, even the initial expenses of getting the apartment, is $2,615. Now, if you total up just the one-time expenses that weren't already going to be recurring and in the budget, it is a total of $1,029. So these are tough numbers to look at because that is a lot of money to shell out over one move. That being said, these fees were paid over a number of months, from filling out the application to putting in the deposit to actually spending the money we needed to for moving day. But planning and budgeting along the way was honestly key, and I can't stress enough how important that was, especially as we were purchasing the furniture, making all of the initial payments, and everything like that. It was a tough transition, but through planning and budgeting, we were able to cash flow what we needed to. That being said, if you have an upcoming move, I highly recommend creating a sinking fund for that move. And if you don't know what a sinking fund is, go to the link in the description of this video. I have an entire video about them. They're amazing. Alternatively, what I ended up doing instead of creating a sinking fund is that I cash flowed the purchases, meaning I made them month to month, but I sacrificed a lot of my midterm savings goals as I was doing that. So instead of putting money into my car fund, I needed to use that money on furniture and things like that, which I don't think is ideal. I would rather have gone through and had a sinking fund for the move instead of cash flowing everything and depleting my savings accounts, or rather not putting money into my savings accounts. It's always better to plan ahead, in my opinion, because that way you never risk having to dip into your emergency fund, and you never risk going into debt, which is probably the worst thing you could do as you're getting into a new apartment, a new house, a new life. You do not want to carry any excess debt along with you, not when it's preventable. I hope it helped you to see the total of my moving costs. Please have any questions you have, put them down below, or any comments, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more content around money. Have an amazing week. I will see you guys next week.